Hello and welcome to Investment Vitals. This is one of the most requested videos in recent times. Today's video is going to be about the FTX election between the US and the Bahamas process. I will try to talk about the similarities and the differences between the two processes, the advantages and disadvantages between the two processes, and some of the criteria which might be of consideration for those who will choose either between either of the two processes. Before I proceed, nothing contained in this video or on my channel is legal or financial advice. All that I'm going to talk about today is my perception or my belief or my understanding of how the way things stand. It is not, I'm not a legal advisor or any advisor of any sort for anybody on watching this channel. So please take it accordingly. You have to make your own decisions based on your judgment, and if you require, you have to seek advice from authorized advisors, legal or financial, whatever it is. Okay, with that out of the way, let's quickly move into the video. So the FTX election, the option of choosing between the US or the Bahamas process has to be completed by 4 p.m. prevailing Eastern Standard Time by 16th of August 2024, which is approximately 2 days from now. And hence it is important that a decision is to be made and to be voted accordingly. I understand that some of you might have voted already in either or both of the proceedings. Uh, I believe I know for sure that in Bahamas process you have a choice of changing your vote by till this deadline of 16th of August 4 p.m. EST. I also believe you have an option of changing in the US proceeding also. I'll verify this, but you can try this out. I believe there's an option in the US proceeding as well. So if after watching this video, if you have some new information, then you might decide to choose if you choose so. Okay, now let me move to the first portion, that is my perceived similarities between the US, that is crawl US proceeding, which is under crawl, and or the Bahamas proceeding, which is under PwC, PricewaterhouseCoopers. Now, this is quoted as it is from the document released by PwC. It says the GSA, that is a global settlement agreement executed between FTX Digital, which is Bahamas proceeding, and the US debtors, and approved this agreement approved by the Supreme Court of Bahamas and the US Bankruptcy Court. As a result of this, both estates will pool recoveries to pay creditors of both the estates on the same basis. Based on this, it is the expectation of the Bahamas proceeding, that is PwC, that .com customers will receive the same value in distribution, as both are using the same basis of calculation and valuation methodologies on the same date, that was the bankruptcy date. Therefore, they expect that the amount paid under both the proceedings should be similar. Also, they expect that the payment will be on or around the same dates, which means that they do not expect any of the two processes to be faster as per the current status. It is their expectations, not mine. It also says that customers will be subjected to same or similar KYC, that is know your customer, AML, that is anti-money laundering, and tax reporting requirements. The last point, also one of the other points also mentioned, is that the same or similar payment schedules and mechanism to make distributions will be used for the customers. So I understand both of them are looking at certain payment processors, for example, some exchanges, etc., or internationally recognized payment entities, so on and so forth. Similar payment options will be made available under both the proceedings, is what the expectation is. There are other criteria also mentioned in the document. I would encourage you to read through, if you have the time, to read through the documents that have been released by the two entities in the respective portals. With that, let me come to the key differences as I understand between the two proceedings. First, in the US proceeding under crawl, claims below $10 will not be paid. At the same time, in Bahamas proceeding, because of the jurisdiction over there, or the laws over there, the claim value, irrespective of the amount, will be treated on par, which implies that claim below $10 will also be entertained. Of course, when I said we treated on par, doesn't I mean there's an exclusion for convenience class, but that's a different story altogether. But the point here is that claim below $10 will not be treated considered in US. But if you have a claim of $10, less than $10, you can approach the Bahamas process. Also, the bar date for the US process, which was FTX claim filing process, was the bar date was on 29th of September 23. The bar date for the Bahamas process is still open up to that same deadline, that is 4 p.m. prevailing Eastern time till 16th of August 2024. So if you have not been able to file in the US claim process and you want to file it in the Bahamas process, you still have a couple of days left. You can proceed in that. One interesting factor is also the distributions could be diluted under the Bahamas process if the JOs, that is the liquidators for Bahamas process, accept incremental claims in excess of $75 million of the scheduled basis, which is currently not anticipated by these by the JOL. Now, as per the JOL, they do not expect this to devolve. But in case the total incremental claim value is in excess of $75 million, then there could be some dilution in among the recipients of the Bahamas process. This is as per the document released by the JOL. Now, based on this and some other readings that I've had, I have tried to place across some advantages and disadvantages of the two processes. Again, this is not legal or financial advice. This is my perception. It could be completely wrong. I would strongly suggest that you consult a legal advisor if it is important in the value, especially if the value that you are claiming is really large. Okay, now with that out of the way, non-financial, non-legal advice. In US, it is expected that they would tend to have stronger legal framework. This is because the US legal framework is well established, and they have a comprehensive framework for bankruptcy creditor protection. There have been so many bankruptcy cases filed in US that there is some degree of perceived strength in the legal system. For example, Celsius claim was recently settled through the US process, and it was reasonably robust. This is one of the advantages of in the US process. Also, the efficiency of US process is known to be strong. US bankruptcy system is known for efficiently handling large cases. You have seen many large US entities who have previously filed for bankruptcy. So they are known to have an efficient bankruptcy process for especially for large cases. Also, transparency. The US bankruptcy proceedings are more transparent with public access to court documents and hearing. Furthermore, there could be a potential, now this is purely my speculation, could be a potential for higher recovery, because some of the investments made by FTX, like in Anthropic, which essentially is something similar to ChatGPT under Cloudy AI. They had an investment over there, and some of the major investments by FTX were made in entities that are under significant influence of the US system. Also, I do not know how feasible it would be, but there is a potential for, if there is potential for class action, then it is also possible that the rulings could enhance the amount of recoveries for customers. Now, this is pure speculation, nothing documented on this. Furthermore, the US system would typically have a greater global reach because of the number of treaties that US has, and even otherwise from the strength that the US typically commands over many other jurisdictions. So these are the strengths that US proceeding is expected to have. In terms of Bahamas, well, Bahamas, the headquarters of FTX was located in Bahamas. So obviously, Bahamas is expected to have greater access to FTX headquarters, and hence easier access to company records and personnel. Also, it is expected, people expect this, again, there's nothing documented or official about it, but there's an expectation generally among people that Bahamas process might move quicker than US process. For example, I spoke about class action in US. Those kind of things can actually impede quick closure. Again, pure speculation. Therefore, people expect that Bahamas process could likely be faster. However, having said that, the statements from both the proceedings is that they expect the same amount and same timings for the payouts. But this is a potential factor that could devolve. Again, the local jurisdiction over local assets. As I said, FTX headquarters was located in Bahamas, and hence Bahamas, the Bahamas system might have direct access or control over the assets that are located in Bahamas itself. Further, US legal system is known to be expensive. It is possible that potentially speaking, if somebody wants to pursue individually also in these legal proceedings, Bahamas proceeding might be cheaper in terms of legal cost. Again, you might have, if you really want to engage a lawyer, you should research this out before you make a decision. In terms of disadvantages, I'll start with the US process. Now, US, that is crawls. It could potentially be longer. Again, having said that, both the proceedings as in crawl as well as PwC have been maintaining that they expect the payouts to be made on the same time. But in terms of a risk, some people perceive that US process could be a little longer, and because it could be complex and time consuming. Also, if somebody wants to progress individually in these cases, the US legal fees could be slightly more expensive. And also, because of potential jurisdictional conflicts, they may face some challenges in assessing getting reach to assets that are located outside of US, specific for example in Bahamas. Now, the disadvantages of Bahamas is, first of all, it is a less familiar legal system. We would many people watching this video or otherwise would have some degree of understanding of the US system, but I don't expect many people to have similar kind of understanding for Bahamian laws. Secondly, people perceive, there is a perception that US regulatory framework could be stronger. Nothing against the Bahamian regulatory framework, but this is a general perception that the Bahamas process might offer slightly lesser protection for creditors compared to the US process. Again, it's a perception; it might be completely wrong. Further, there might be possible limited reach in assets located outside, and also again the jurisdiction reach for Bahamas could again be constrained. Now, some of the considerations that some people might have in making the decision between which process to elect for, one of them would be the claim amount. It is fairly clear that if somebody has a claim of up less than 10 US dollars, then it might be, it sounds logical that he would rather proceed under the Bahamas process. Again, not financial advice, not legal advice, but generally speaking, this sounds like the case. If I was a person having a claim of less than 10 US dollars and I've insisted in having the money back, I probably would have gone for the Bahamas process. That is what I would have done. I'm not taking any advices here. Now, secondly, I I have heard that some people have different amount of claim listed in the Bahamas process and different amount listed in US process. If that happens to be the case for you, generally speaking, some people might rather want to choose the jurisdiction in which the accepted or the listed claim is higher. Again, not financial advice or legal advice. Further, if somebody wants to pursue also a legal case separately outside of the class actions, then they might want to assess the cost involved in the jurisdiction and the access that they have in terms of the reach. That would directly also add into the location of the person who is interested in making the decision and the contact they might have in either of the two countries. Furthermore, time consideration, as in which process they perceive to be faster. And finally, the primary exchange used by the customer. So the customer is based in US and US using FTX.US, he would most likely be going for the US proceeding. If I'm not wrong, he might not be admissible in the Bahamas proceeding. Again, please verify this. Do not go by what I say. Also, if the person is based in international territories, then he probably might prefer Bahamas proceeding. However, specifically speaking, if a person, for example, is based in Europe, now Europe and Japan are being treated separately in their respective jurisdiction. However, it is believed that some of the settlement of some of their claims were done through Bahamas, and hence there would be some individuals or entities who might have had a payment which was impending because the settlement didn't happen from Bahamas process. For example, a person based in Europe, even if his claim is getting processed in the European cases, if he had a settlement pending from FTX Bahamas, that component of his claim might be admissible in the Bahamas process. So if you are in doubt, you should rather check into to the annexure that have been published or the settlement amount that have been published using your email, etc., to ascertain the claim amount as admitted in the two proceeding. So this could be some of the considerations that people might decide. In my opinion, some people who might have a preference for the US proceeding would be as such. Customers who are primarily using FTX.US, that is, customers with higher admitted claims in US. If you have a differential amount listed in Bahamas and US and the amount is higher in US, probably the person might go for the US process, non-financial advice, non-legal advice. US residents or those familiar with the US legal system might be more comfortable in the US system. Also, if there is some expectation that subsequent to certain class action or in legal court cases within US, if there is any expectation that a higher amount might get paid out under the US process, someone might decide to choose for the US process. Similarly, if a customer who believes a significant portion of the recoverable assets are in US or other jurisdiction where US courts have stronger influence, they might rather choose to go for US proceeding. Also, large customers who can afford to pay potentially higher legal cost and longer process but want perceived stronger protection under US legal system might want to choose for the US proceeding. Similar treatment for the Bahamas, preference for the Bahamas proceeding could be with people, customer with claim of less than $10. As discussed earlier, claim of less than $10 would not be admissible under the US proceeding, and hence somebody might choose to go for claim amount less than $10 in $10 in Bahamas. Similarly, customer with higher admitted claim in, sorry, there's a typo mistake here. A customer having a higher admitted claim in Bahamas compared to US might choose to go for the Bahamas process because the perceived value that might be realized could be higher, only because of the differential of the listed amounts. Third, Bahamian residents or those in the nearby jurisdiction who have got greater amount of comfort or access to the Bahamian process might choose that. Fourth, customers who primarily used FTX International. As I mentioned some time back, FTX.com, this is again perception. It is believed, I attended a con call, a Zoom call with PwC some time back, and this was one of the points discussed, that FTX.com was the settling entity, and hence class action of FTX US customer who may have claim on FTX trading, which were not settled to their exchange in Europe, might have that component payable under the Bahamian law. This is what was one of the points discussed. I would suggest that if somebody wants greater clarity, they might rather go onto the listed claim section under the Bahamian process to ascertain this. Again, not financial, not legal advice. Further, entities looking to pursue their own legal recourse and who might find Bahamian process uh, expenses cheaper might rather go for there. Or those people who are having significant holding in the currencies that are primarily traded on FTX International. And finally, a smaller customer, because there's a perception that in case the two systems go out of sync, it is a perception that Bahamian system might pay out earlier. So people, and specifically when a lot of people expect that cryptocurrency prices might go higher in 2025, they might want the money back quicker. Again, it might or might not, but I'm saying is somebody who wants to get the money faster might rather choose the Bahamian process. So these are some of the things that I could understand, read through, and guess. I hope this was useful. As for I would rather want to disclose what I'm going to do. But I would rather, if you want to do more about what I'm going to do, please drop a comment, and I would think about if I should be speaking about this in this video or not. I hope you found this video useful. If you did find it useful, do hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. A lot of effort goes into making such kind of videos. A like would encourage me significantly. Also, if you believe there are other people who could benefit from this video, share it with your friends and families and on your socials so that the reach can be expanded more. With that, thank you so much. If you have any comments, queries, suggestions, or if you found something right or wrong in these slides, please do mention in the comment section so that all reading the comments can benefit the maximum out of it. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next video, in which will most likely be about the step-by-step process of how to file your the election in the Bahamian process, and a separate video for how to file your election in the US process. Thank you so much. See you.